that. Why? That's mommy's. Use this if you want to smell like daddy.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. Please put in the chat, let me know that you can hear me and see me. I had to switch my mic over. I had a conference call earlier today and I had to switch my mic over. So I just want to make sure you guys could hear me and see me. So put it in the chat. Let me know that you could hear me and see me. In today's episode of Business Talks, we are going to talk about Joe Biden. The media, liberal media, is really upset about this special counsel report, the findings over these secretive documents that Joe Biden had in his garage in both of his homes. So they came out with nearly a 400-page report explaining why they will not prosecute or seek any type of indictments on Joe Biden. I don't know what it would be. Indictment. He's the president right now. So I guess an impeachment, maybe inquiry. So they will not seek to further investigation on Joe Biden. And one of the main things that they point out in this document is because of Joe Biden's memory, memory loss, and him being an elderly person. So that sparked the outrage in liberal media. So we'll talk about that today. Also, in today's episode, we're going to talk about Sonny Hostin. Now, if you know about Sonny Hostin, she is one of the, co-hosts of The View, and she is a race baiter. I believe she's a race baiter. Matter of fact, she had this really wild claim the other day where she was saying that her and her son visit Miami and somebody was calling them the N-word in Miami. And it's like, okay, maybe people that have not visited Miami will fall for that, but people know if in Miami, and she was claiming she was on the beach, at the beach, and they were calling her the N-word. And I'm like, okay, no, her son the N-word. This is what she claimed. But anyway, she did an Ancestry test, and coming to find out, Sonny Hostin owes reparations. So we'll talk about her owing reparations to the people that she's always claiming that's being racially towards her, or negative racially towards her. Anyway, we'll discuss that and more on today's episode. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. You guys put in the chat. Let me know that you could hear me and see me. Put in the chat where you are viewing from. It is about 8:39. It's 8:39 Eastern Standard Time. I really appreciate every one of you. We have Nutter Brother saying Joe Biden, gotta go Joe. If he could only jog into his sunset. We got Jenny DB in the building. Sound is all good. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, Grandpa Joe. We could call him Grandpa Joe now. Sleepy Joe Biden, Grandpa Joe Biden. He's the liberals are upset. Kamala Harris is upset. CNN was upset. MSNBC was upset. We have all these news outlets upset about this report that Robert Hur was the special counsel, prosecutor that was assigned to Joe Biden's case. And in this document, he claims that they are not going to pursue Joe Biden. They're not going to pursue Joe Biden because he's elderly. They actually think it was an honest mistake, and his memory. He's suffering from memory loss. Okay. So in this video that I'm going to share with you. Let me get it off there. In this video I'm going to share with you, I believe this is
the U.S. Department.
Yeah, this is CNN. And it says special counsel reports finds Biden willfully retained classified documents. Okay. You know, and then later on we'll see Joe Biden coming back with, hey, my memory's fine, blah, blah, blah. But I want to share with, show this post before we go on to the next video.
Department of Justice has just released the special counsel's report on President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. Now, you'll remember, these were the documents found at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C., and also at the president's home in Delaware. Earlier today, the White House declined to assert executive privilege over any of this report, and that's why we have it in our hands now. We want to go straight to our Caitlin Polantz, who's been reading through it. And Caitlin, I mean, from the few lines that I've seen, this is quite a bombshell for the Biden administration.
It is, Paula. The finding here after a year-long investigation by the special counsel, so a prosecutor looking at possible criminal charges for the Justice Department with a little bit of distance from the administration itself, someone with a level of independence, found evidence that Joe Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after he left the vice presidency during the Obama years of the presidency. Now, there's a big but here. The but is there are no criminal charges being filed here. Special counsel Rob Hur found that there should not be criminal charges, that even if department policy at the Department of Justice said you can't indict a sitting president, which Joe Biden is currently, and that is the department policy, they still wouldn't be bringing charges. The reason for that are many different mitigating factors, specifically pointing out that Joe Biden had a failing memory about some of these things. And even if he was willfully retaining and disclosing classified information, especially about Afghanistan, the Afghanistan military, foreign policy, as well as handwritten notebooks he kept from his vice presidency, even though he shared them at some point with a ghostwriter he was working with on a memoir, it was not enough to convince a jury that there was guilt on his mind or that he willfully wanted to keep these things in violation of the law.
Yeah, still absolutely stunning in terms of the language that was used here. And Caitlin, I know how closely you followed this. I just want to remind the audience that President Biden was interviewed for 2 days by the special counsel. That was last October. I mean, how do you think that played into what we see today in terms of the results of this investigation?
Paula, the special counsel Rob Hur in this report, it's more than 300 pages long. He points that out as one of the mitigating factors here, one of the reasons that factored into what a jury may believe here or see here if they were to see the evidence, and also what he was looking at.
one of the mitigating factors when they interviewed Joe Biden, and they put this in the report, his memory. He couldn't recall what he shared with the ghostwriter. Matter of fact, he had two memoirs. One back in 2007, and then this other one that he previously did after his term in the White House in 2017. And they interviewed him, asking him questions on this Afghanistan after they found out, he had these Afghanistan notes and his special notes for his own personal use, but they were classified documents because it was about Afghanistan. But anywho, he couldn't remember. So what does that? And this was last year. You couldn't remember what you told the people in 2017 to now. We're going to see how CNN, I think it's CNN and MSNBC, was like, oh, I don't remember what I was taught back in college or last year. I don't remember what kind of toast I ate. That, to me, that is not equivalent to, hey, I leaked or I told this ghostwriter classified information in regards to XYZ. Now, they did say, and I guess they read the memoir, they did say in 2000, when they read the memoir, it does not have any classified evidence in the actual book. So either they changed it up or just left it out. But how can you say, this information is classified? Wouldn't you have the forethought, like, oh, I shouldn't have shared that information? I mean, you will remember if you shared information that was classified or not. Another thing that we're going to see is MSNBC saying, oh, that's classic for your lawyer to tell you, or to tell whoever's questioning you, I do not recall that information. So clearly, Joe Biden's memory is failing, and it's been failing for quite some time. And I think Democrats are so mad and so upset and just trying to put out this fire is because, Joe Biden is supposed to be the next president. They think he's going to win over Trump. And you guys put it in the chat. Do you think Joe Biden, even if this didn't come out, this special report, do you actually think Joe Biden had a chance against Donald Trump? Just put it in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you think Joe Biden or Donald Trump will win the election. Okay, you guys put in a 2 in the chat for Donald Trump. Put a 1 in the chat for Joe Biden.
That Joe Biden was cooperative with this investigation, sitting for interviews. He also turned the documents back over to the Justice Department once they were found. And Special Counsel Rob Hurst especially goes through exactly how this is different from the case against Donald Trump, the case that has been charged in criminal court and is headed toward a trial. The difference here, where Donald Trump is accused of keeping records at his estate Mar-a-Lago in Florida after his presidency, is that in that case, they have found evidence of the obstruction of justice, a refusal of Donald Trump to return documents, and his wish that witnesses in that case would lie to federal authorities.
Yeah, and we should remind people as well that former Vice President Pence also faced an investigation. He was cleared of any wrongdoing, I guess it was June last year. And Caitlin, just before I let you go, can you remind us where we at right now with the Trump case in terms of the documents case now?
I don't want to get into that because that's going to go down another rabbit hole. But let me share, before I share all these rebuttals with you, let me share this special report, okay? And I just want to highlight, it's 388 pages long. Who's going to read 388 pages? I guess reporters and all that stuff. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty. But all you got to do is, it's on the DOJ website. Let me just go back to the chat and let me see who's in the building. We have Rome King, Atlanta home, the home wrecking DA. Okay, welcome, Rome King. Sue Pickett, sounds good, Louisiana. Rome King, instant outrage. Yeah, you know, it's the outrage. They like putting out fires and, you know, just trying to secure the office for Joe Biden. But he's not fit to run office. Joe Biden needs to go to a retirement home. It's nothing against, thank you for your service, Joe Biden. It's nothing against Joe Biden, but thank you for your service. Now it's time to pack it up, move over for somebody else to lead, you know. Anyway, Noble Young, what's up? Matt Torrance, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while, but thank you for tuning in. Tracy, how are you? Motown, of course. And let's see who else we have in the building. Dr. Buttu, thank you for joining us. And Headley Grange, thank you for joining us. You guys, like I said, this on this special document, this is the special report, which is really, really crazy. Now, Robert Hur, they were calling him names. They said they thought it was ludicrous. Why would he use this type of language when describing Joe Biden? Your girl Kamala Harris, she was like, he is our vice president, and I mean, he is our president, and he's doing so much for the people. He's running in circles. He's doing this, he's doing that. And this report is ludicrous and blah, 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 blah. So she was upset too. And of course, she did her job. She has to defend her president, right? You know, that's her president. So she has to defend him. But let me just share with you. On page 5, that's where it gets into it. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me make sure. Yeah, you can. It says, in addition, Mr. Biden's memory was significantly limited both during his recorded interviews with the ghostwriter in 2017 and in his interview with our office in 2023, and his cooperation with our investigation, including by reporting to the government that the Afghanistan documents were in his Delaware garage, was likely to convince some jurors that he made an innocent mistake rather than acting willfully, that is, with intent to break the law as the statute requires. So they're basically saying is viewed as this. Okay, if we do take this to court, they will view it as a mistake. That's what they're saying. Then it goes to say, this is on the next page. We have also considered that at trial, Mr. Biden will likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interviews of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with poor memory. Based on our direct interactions with and observation of him, he is someone who for whom many jurors will want to identify reasonable doubt. It will be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him, by then a former president well into his 80s, of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. Now, and then they said, we conclude that the evidence is not sufficient to convict. We decline to recommend prosecution of Mr. Biden for his retention of classified Afghanistan documents. Basically, to sum it up, he's too old to prosecute. Jurors, it's going to be a waste of time, because the jury will look at Joe Biden as like, oh, look at that sweet old innocent man. He didn't mean nothing by that. Oh, poor Joe. Poor Joe. Joe, you want some ice cream? Okay, you want to turn on the TV for you? Come on, Joe, sit down. It's bath time. Bath time with Joe. So that's basically what they're saying. So this pissed people off. This pissed the liberals off. The liberals went crazy about this. They went crazy. I'm going to share what Joe Biden said first. I think his name is Peter Ducey. You guys put it in chat. He's a reporter, and he's always given Karine Jean-Pierre a hard time, and she hates him. But he was answering questions. Joe Biden, he's
is because
wanted to answer questions about this special counsel probe, and he posed a question like, what do you say about them or this report saying your memory is poor? And this is what they said, or this is what he said.
No, thank you, and I'll take some questions.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's
How
totally
bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak. That's
Do you
my
feel your memory has gotten worse, Mr.
No,
President?
My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Mr. President.
I don't know if that was a good comeback for Joe, but oh, Joe, come on now. That's all you get. Let's take a look at what you've done. Absolutely nothing. You blowing smoke up everybody's ass. You know, Bidenomics. You're talking about the jobs. You increased jobs. He hasn't. You know, we just gained back the jobs that we lost when the state shut us down because of COVID. Anyway, I don't want to get off track. We're going to keep on looking at liberal media having a meltdown. Okay, so that was Joe Biden asking or answering that question about his memory. Now, this next one, it's funny how, you know, when Joe Biden gets called out for his indiscretions or whatever it is. They try to make a comparisons to Donald Trump. And to me, it's like, there's no comparison. Okay. You're comparing apples to oranges. Even though President Trump, he's pretty up there. He's like 78 or something like that. So he's not too far away from Joe Biden. But as far as you could tell, President Trump, he has the right frame of mind. Now, would he be able to do, would someone elect him after this term? No, well, he won't be eligible for a third term, but literally, so they're trying to compare. So this is MSNBC, and they go back and forth about poor memory
of the person giving the deposition.
When you're under oath, this line that the president quoted, where the report refers to him as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. What is the word elderly doing there? And poor memory, what is the test of that? Might that be Donald Trump saying, I don't recall 400 times under oath in the same deposition? Is that a good test of it? The idea that witnesses over a 40-year discussion, don't remember everything, or that someone who graduates from college in June can't tell you where the diploma is in September. That seems to be a condition that this special prosecutor doesn't understand in the human mind.
You're incorrect, sir. They didn't ask him in the questioning with the special counsel. They were specifically asking him about the documents that they found in Joe Biden's garage in the other home. They specifically asked, hey, did you share any of this information with your ghostwriter that wrote your memoir, or to any other people? That's what they were asking. That's not over a 40-year span. You know what type of documents you had. Now you can say, well, I don't really know what documents I had. If I have any documents down there, I don't know what they're pertaining to. You can say that, but you wrote a memoir. You wrote a memoir about it. So as a ghostwriter, if you're using a ghostwriter, all they do is sit down and tape record, and you just spill your guts. Oh, tell me about that. Chapter 1, tell me about that. And then they write it into a format that people wants to read. So what are you saying here, sir? Why are you mad that they use elderly? And why are you mad or making false claims? Because it's not over a 40-year period. It's these one specific instances where they thought, hey, you might have shared some classified information to other people. And is it in the book? And coming to find out, it's not in the book. But what are we saying here? So this is really irritating to me. And people would not do their own research and say, oh, does it really say that in the document? No, they didn't talk about over a term of 40 years. No, they didn't say that. They specifically asked him about the documents that they found in his garage.
So I'm going to be fascinated when I can get into all these hundreds of pages to see what is it that makes you stress the lack of memory in this particular case, where you have this completely cooperative witness, and there has never been a witness under oath anywhere being questioned over a period of years of that witness's life where they don't say, I do not recall. It is impossible to ask witnesses questions where they answer will not be, I don't recall. And if you don't get that response, it just means you didn't ask enough questions.
Can I speak just on that? Because I had the same thought. It's fairly standard lawyering to advise people, even when in doubt or you think you might remember. If you can credibly say, I don't recall about something, that's a standard legal advice. And it has nothing to do with the age of the person giving the deposition.
When you're under oath, you can't lie. If you do recall, you have to say that you can, but if you can't...
Exactly. Well, that's the whole point, right, Rachel? That basically, because of those standards, the extra burden that you don't want to get anything wrong means you err on the side of saying, I don't recall and I don't remember, unless you really specifically do.
this line.
They're they're really upset that Robert Hur point out his memory and him being elderly. And actually, if you read the document, these I only read about 9 pages, and I ran into the elderly part. But if you actually read the document, they're talking about Joe Biden, about his career and his service to the country, basically. You know, they're not talking about him in a negative way, but he is elderly. So we're and let me say this: we're talking about liberals, progressive, and Democrats. So I feel like a young man, so therefore I am a young man. I'm a 20-year-old man. That's his pronouns. 20-year-old man. That's Joe Biden So they're trying to claim that Joe Biden is still young and youthful. And he's not. He's not young and youthful. He's old. He's an elderly man. You could even say the same thing about Trump. I mean, these are two elderly people. Trump doesn't act elderly, though. He doesn't look elderly. But Joe Biden looks and acts elderly. I'm sorry. There's a clear and visible difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So they're making a comparison to Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and they're mad because they use the word elderly. But that is, they describe him to the T. I mean, what's so bad about that? Anyway, so that was MSNBC. You see, Joy Reid ain't even saying anything because she don't even like Joe Biden. She just looking like, I ain't gonna say anything. She probably like, I can't say anything because she's probably on the chopping block for talking about Joe Biden. Now, here your girl Kamala Harris. She was like really wound up. Kamala Harris, she didn't come to play. She wanted everybody to know that Joe Biden is, sound. There's nothing wrong with his memory. And this is a straight political hit job by Robert Hur. Like, really? Is it a political hit job?
And the president was in front of and on top of it all, asking questions and requiring that America's military and intelligence community and diplomatic community would figure out and know how many people were dead. How many are Americans? How many hostages? Is the situation stable? He was in front of it all, coordinating and directing leaders who are in charge of America's national security, not to mention our allies around the globe. For days, and up until now, months. So the way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts and clearly politically motivated, gratuitous. And so I will say that when it comes to the role and responsibility of a prosecutor in a situation like that, we should expect that there would be a higher level of integrity than what we saw.
I don't know why she's saying he didn't act in integrity when he wrote the report. I don't understand why she's saying that. She's saying it was a political hit job. It was politically motivated. I don't know. I'm going to pull up Robert Hur. I mean, is he, he's from former United States district attorney. He was appointed by General Merrick Garland. I just want to say his political affiliation. He is a Republican. Okay, so he's a Republican, but if it was a political hit job, he would say, hey, we want to prosecute Joe Biden. You guys put it in the chat. Do you think this was a political hit job? I mean, could he use better language to describe Joe Biden's elderly mental decline? Like, what type of words do you use besides elderly and I don't remember when you speaking on an elderly person? It is two things when you say, if a person says, I don't recall, you have to wonder. It's always in the back of your mind. Okay, do you don't recall because you really don't recall, or you don't recall? Then you start looking at the person's age. That is kind of the factor when you looked at or think that is a factor into something or someone recalling a specific event. I think that's a factor. Could he could have used a different word than elderly, but to me it's hilarious because they're mad as hell. They're mad as hell because they used the word, or Robert Hur used the word elderly. Okay, so let me see if I could. Okay, so this is Ducey again. Remember, I think his first name is Peter Ducey. Peter Ducey is questioning John Pierre on this one. And she gets pissed off. She gets so pissed. It's classic. Okay, this is classic. Let me just enlarge this.
Special counsel says President Biden has got significant limitations on his memory. Then who is helping him run the country?
The President of the United States runs the country. The Commander-in-Chief runs the country.
How can he be trusted with the nuclear codes if, I get that you're saying that nobody in the building would say that he's got an issue with his memory, but just the little part of what we get to see, he's made mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake on camera this week.
So I'm going to be very clear here. The reality is that report, that part of the report, does not live in reality. It just doesn't.
So the special counsel is lying about the president's memory.
It was gratuitous. You heard from Ian Sams, my colleague. It is unacceptable, and it does not live in reality. That is just the facts. And look, it is a closed case. That is what the special counsel said. And what matters is that the president in the last 3 years has delivered on the economy, has delivered on health care, has turned this country around after the last president left us with an economy that was in a tailspin. That's what we were dealing with. That's what we were dealing with. If you think about the world leaders and issues that have been going on in this country for the past 2-3 years, not in this country, in the world, right? When you think about Ukraine, the president was able to bring together NATO allies. They've been the strongest than they've ever been, and make sure that we are providing what Ukraine, the brave people of Ukraine, need as they're fighting aggression, Putin's aggression. And that is what this president has been able to do. his experience as former senator, as former vice president, and now president, has gotten us to a place where we've been able to turn things around in a way that we meet the needs of the American people, whether it's domestic issues or national security issues. And that is what matters. That part of the report does not live in reality. Bye, everybody. Have a great.
You see, it seemed like Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, she loves to lie on camera. Everything she said was a lie. Okay. You're talking about Donald Trump. She acted as if Donald Trump left his office high and dry without them being notified. Like, oh, he just up and quit. No, there was a pandemic. He couldn't control the pandemic. And listen, people, if you were the federal government didn't shut anybody down. What the federal government did, they did stop people from signing up or returning back to work because they didn't get the COVID shot. That's what they did. So you want to talk about economy, that's what the federal government did. They put restrictions on people to stop them from working because they didn't get the COVID shot. And then you had senators or, state regulators shutting the economy down. Michigan was one of them. They damn near closed the whole damn state for 3 months. A lot of states did that. Only state that didn't do that was probably Texas and Florida. Florida was the only one that stayed open. So, and when we're talking about the economy, that had nothing to do with Donald Trump. That had everything to do with your state. Okay. But anyway, they're using the word gratuitous, like without meaning or just unjust cause or whatever. No, this guy is 81, right? We're talking about Joe Biden is 81. If you're telling the interviewer, I don't recall, I don't remember, over something that happened in 2017 and you wrote a book about it. Okay, like I said before, the first thing you would think, one of the factors of memory loss, hey, did he have a recent fall? Did he fall down the stairs? Did he get in a car accident and bump his head? Did, whatever happened to him? Why doesn't he recall something that happened in 2017? And like I said, you wrote a book about it. Okay. Then the next thing, like if those factors are not a factor, the next thing you will look at, okay, he is an elderly man. And he also put in his report, he don't think he was malicious about taking these documents out of the White House. But everyone is focusing on this elderly part because they want the public, us, to not know that Joe Biden is suffering a mental decline. But we see it on camera. Joe Biden doesn't really take questions. They probably forced him to take these questions from Peter Doocy. They probably forced him. Like, dude, you gotta, hey, here's some ginkgo biloba, the memory thing, the vitamins for here's your blueberries. Take these, Joe. You got to do an interview tomorrow. You got to address the public. Here's your vitamins and your oatmeal. Take that so you could be on your P's and Q's because you got to answer questions. But any other time he doesn't answer questions. And another thing I get pissed off, you're bringing up Ukraine like that was a win. Ukraine is not a win. Ukraine, that whole thing is a failure. You're talking about you brought the UN together and all that, blah, 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 blah. But you're paying for a war. We are paying for a war. That was a big failure. As soon as Donald Trump got out of office, 30 days later, Ukraine and Russia was fighting. It doesn't make any sense. Big failure. So why would she bring that up? They're constantly lying to us. Like I said earlier this week, Joe Biden and KJP is walking around with a bag over their head and it's raining shit. And they trying to convince everybody else it's not raining shit. Anyway. Benita said, old Biden is so jealous of Trump that he can't think straight. Yeah, he's like super jealous. Rome is not the same. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. The warrior, he either committed a crime or has mental issues. It's one or the other or both. And basically in the report is saying that he's suffering mental decline. So if he did do a crime, they won't convict him because his mental state. That's basically what they're saying. That's basically what they're saying in this report. Benita said, why do I always get sleepy when Kamala talks? Kamala is just yapping her mouth and she doesn't really say anything. She was really good as a senator. You know, her term, she was really good at that. Like, especially when she was on part of these special committees, she's really good at a line of questioning. DA, senator, I think that was the height, should have been the height of her career. Nobody wants her as a vice president, and definitely nobody wants her as the president. And you know, someone put in here, where did I see it? Someone put, I have to find that comment, that they came out with that report because they're trying to move Joe Biden out the way so Kamala could be president. Wouldn't that be horrible if we had Kamala for president? Just think, that's why people gather up everybody you know that's talking about, oh, Joe Biden is our president. Don't vote Joe. If you vote Joe in, you're just making sure that Kamala is the president. Who wants Kamala Harris as the president? You put it in a chat. Do you want Kamala Harris as your president? Because if you vote for Joe Biden, you're basically voting Kamala to be the president. And that will be a horrible mistake. Joe Biden is a horrible mistake. Kamala, super horrible. Anyway. Let me see if I got another clip before I go over on to my next topic. Okay, this one, fact check. Biden made 3 false claims about handling classified information. That's what they're saying on this one.
Is basically that one thing that President Biden said is basically that he stored the documents in filing cabinets that could be locked. Let's listen.
All the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked.
Daniel?
Just not true, John. This report from the special counsel includes photos Those photos include shots of a box just sitting in President Biden's Delaware garage. The special counsel described it as a badly damaged box sitting amid household detritus. So there was some material that was in cabinets, locked or lockable, as the president said, but all of it certainly not. And that open, unsealed, damaged box included, according to the special counsel, highly sensitive, top secret material about the war in Afghanistan.
Okay, another claim that President Biden made: none of the documents were highly classified. Let's listen.
None of it was high classified. Didn't have any of that red stuff on it. You know what I mean? Around the corners? None of that.
Daniel?
That claim that he didn't have any material that was quote-unquote high classified is also not true, John. The special counsel's report says that the president possessed multiple highly classified documents that were indeed marked as being highly classified documents, including some marked as top secret / SCI, sensitive compartmented information. That is a very high level of classification. For example, special counsel Hur discussed 2 top secret documents about Afghanistan found in that open, unsealed, damaged box in the garage, one of which Hur said contains highly sensitive info about military programs, and another that contains info about sensitive intelligence and sources and methods. Now, it's not clear, John, if any of those Biden documents had those colored borders we saw on classified docs that former President Trump had, which I think is what President Biden was referring to when he talked about red around the corners. But still, whatever coloring these documents had, the special counsel says they were clearly marked as highly classified. And then I should add, Hur also said that investigators' analysis of Biden's own handwritten notes from his time as vice president showed that these notebooks also contained highly classified info, though those were not marked. And Hur said a sampling of 37 excerpts found that, quote, 8 are top secret with sensitive compartmented information, 7 of which include information concerning human intelligence sources, plus 6 others that were top secret.
And then the third claim that he made, Daniel, there was that he did not share classified information with a ghostwriter on a book he was working on. Listen to that.
I did not share classified information. I did not share it.
With your ghostwriter?
With my ghostwriter, I did not. Guarantee you did not.
But the special counsel said...
Well, no, he did not say that.
Okay.
He did not say that.
So he's entitled to say he didn't do it. He can defend himself. But he also said the special counsel didn't say that he did share that classified info with the ghostwriter. Except, John, the special counsel did say that explicitly. Hur wrote, quote, Mr. Biden shared information, including some classified information from those notebooks with his ghostwriter. So there it is in black and white. Now, Hur did elaborate that Biden shared classified info with the ghostwriter by reading nearly verbatim from the notebooks on at least 3 occasions, including notes from meetings in the Situation Room. He did find that Biden, quote, at times tried to avoid sharing classified info, like by skipping over certain material as he was reading them to the ghostwriter. And Hur did write that the evidence does not show that Biden knew the info was classified. Nonetheless, even though the special counsel did clearly give him some material to defend himself with, this is not a factual defense. So he could cite the factual stuff, Hur said, didn't know it was intentional, etc. But declaring the special counsel just did not say what he said, John, is not a factual defense.
Important to note, Daniel Dale, always great to have you. Thanks so much.
So, and my bad, at the beginning of the report, it did say they read the memoir and it didn't have any classified information in there. So apparently he did share some of the information, the classified information, with the guy who was writing his memoir. You guys, this is what they're talking about, the photos. Now, this is Joe Biden's office in the Penn Biden Center. This picture was taken on November the 28th, 2022. And then there's another office, is the outer office in that same building. These are some of the boxes that they had in storage. Now, this is another photograph that was taken by the director of the Oval Office operations in 2021, corroborated the statements about the quantity and the variety of Mr. Biden's items stored at the Penn Biden Center. And you see, it's pretty much full of different file folders or file boxes and different articles. Okay. So he had a whole bunch of stuff. Are all these documents or boxes classified? No, they didn't say that, but he did have a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this is another box that was taken, and they just had different files. It says more associate also discovered materials with classified or classification markings in another box of files, which he had been reviewing page by page. And they're talking about they're keeping track of what type of classified information that they're finding. It says the fourth box did not appear to contain any presidential records, but it was in the same style as the Home Depot box as the three other that had the classified information. So he didn't put it in a separate, he's saying it was locked and key in a separate office or in a separate file drawer. No, or maybe he didn't recall. Maybe he didn't remember. Maybe he told the people who moved the boxes from point A to point B to put them in a locked drawer. But then you willfully admitted that you took these documents. So if you're telling, oh, these were in a secure location, it was locked in a file drawer or whatever, well, we know that's a lie because they were scattered everywhere. And that's what the FBI agents visited the SCIF at the National Archives on December the 1st and the 2nd to review the photographs for the 4 boxes. These are some of the classified documents they found in these Home Depot boxes. And they got a bunch of redacted stuff on there. These are some of his notes that probably should have been classified. That's probably why you see these, they got it redacted. Anywho, so, they have several photographs of Joe Biden in classified documents in his handwritten notes that he's using, for his breakfast meeting or whatever. His time as the vice president. But they're going through this 388-page document is basically going through of what classified documents did they find and how did it pertain to being classified. They also they're going through his whole history basically. They found some documents at the University of Delaware. And doesn't Jill Biden, is she a professor at that school? I'm not for sure. So why would they have documents there? in regards to, his documents. Why would it be with her? That's kind of odd. But anyway, they have several. Let me just go back up here. What is this? And that's unclassified. Anyway, so that's Joe Biden. And the liberal media is mad about that. But what can you say? Joe Biden's getting old as hell. Joe Biden is old as hell. He shouldn't be in the White House. He needs to retire. Joe Biden needs to retire. So let me make sure I showed you everything. I think I did. Oh, this is gonna crack you up. Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow claims, oh, he's not too old. Joe Biden rides a bike. Joe Biden rides a bike. He rides a bike and he falls off. So what are we saying?
You read in it is that peak, right? I mean, he's frustrated and angry that he didn't get more. Yeah. But the other thing, you mentioned this, we should just be clear here, right? Like, age is the central narrative question here that this all revolves around in terms of its political repercussions, the way the news happened today, the questions being asked him by multiple figures there. And in the end, what makes it such a useful political tool for people that want Donald Trump to be elected or want him not to be reelected is that the fact of his age is not something you can rebut. Mm-hmm. You can't tack to, if someone says you're too far left, you can tack to the center. The man is 80 years old.
He rides a bike.
He is the age he is, and so it's a very useful political attack for that reason.
Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent.
Along with the standardness of I don't recall,
I don't know what the hell he talking about. Do you guys get what he was trying to say? But anyway, it was only a 60-second clip. So I don't know what he's trying to say. What message are they trying to convey to the public? Yeah, age is a factor. We don't want Joe Biden to be like Feinstein dying in office. To me, that's just crazy. It's ludicrous for people to go down the track where you're just going to elect the man even when their health is failing. Like, Joe Biden needs to take a whole seat and retire. Democrats are trying to hold on to power for, they just power hungry because they want to control everything. It's just like you need to just give it up. Just take a whole seat and let somebody else come in and lead the country. You've done a horrible job at it. It's time for someone else. Let's try somebody else. Anyway, so that's it for Joe Biden. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. I'm tired of talking about him. But I do want to talk about Sonny Hostin. Sonny Hostin. Sonny Hostin was upset because she found out that she's white. Duh, Sonny. Like literally everybody got some type of European in them. Like literally everyone. If you walking on the earth today, you're mixed with something. You're not full breaded anything. You are mixed with something. So why are you mad about this? Reason why Sonny Hostin is so mad is because she loves to say racism happened to me. And in this day and age. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that clip of Sonny saying, Sonny said her and her son went to Florida, and to me, I think, when people make these type of claims, I think they just want attention, because I don't believe it. When I went to Florida, Miami Beach, and this was a few years ago, I've been to Miami Beach a bunch of times. It's nothing but like Cubans, a bunch of Latinos. You rarely see like white people, but it's a mixture of people, but not. I didn't see any white folks. I seen a bunch of Cubans, Haitians, and people vacationing from somewhere else. But I rarely even see, and this is honest God truth, I didn't even see any white people. And I'm talking about on Miami Beach, in Miami Beach, on the actual beach, on the strip, Ocean Boulevard. That's what I'm talking about. Bunch of Latinos, Haitians, Cubans, that kind of people. And Sonny Hostin claims that her and her son went to Miami Beach and they was calling her the N-word. This is what she's claiming. I want to see if I could find a clip that's playable. This is Officer Tatum.
Are a lot of racists in this country. I just experienced my son walking down the beach being called the N-word several times.
These people kill me.
She said she experienced walking down the beach several times being called the N-word. Only reason why I'm playing this, I didn't want to hear, and nothing wrong with Officer Tatum. I just didn't want to hear him talk. I wanted to get what they're talking about.
In this country, and I feel like
we do know it's not the vast majority of people in this country.
The FBI director said white supremacy is the biggest threat to our country today.
Well, that still doesn't.
White supremacy is not the biggest threat to our country today. You know what's the biggest threat to our country today? Liberals. Liberals are the biggest threat to our country. Not the white supremacists. I don't know, Sonny, I don't know. Maybe she just got like, treat me with racism on her forehead, because why is all this stuff always happening to her? It happens to nobody else besides her. Look at Sonny. Look at her. She mad and saying, really, you gonna tell me racism is not prevalent in our society? That's what she's looking like. Racism does exist, and it's white supremacy. How dare you?
But you know what?
If you look like me. She's stupid.
Harbor racist viewpoints. I do think that this division that we're creating.
If you look like me, you would believe differently.
But you know what?
You are high yellow. What do you mean if I look like you? You know how many people would love like the curly hair, and she looks exotic. She acting like she a brown skinned girl walking around. If you look like me, really? Sonny, you high yellow. What are you saying here? She acting like she just, if slavery was existing today, Sonny would not be outside. She will be inside. Now, maybe some things will be happening to her, but she wouldn't be outside with the people picking cotton. So what are you saying? And she's she's a nice looking lady. So what are you saying? Beauty goes a long way. Black, white, brown. It doesn't matter what color skin you are, but beauty. And that's why you're sitting on this show, because of beauty. Because it's clearly not your brains. like, really? Come on, Sonny. If you look like me. What? Tell this same thing to some brown skinned people. Like some dark skinned people. Tell that to them. You know she got bullied because she light skinned. Sonny was bullied because she was a light-skinned girl. And now she done twisted up. Her worst enemy is the kids that she grew up with. That's her worst enemy. And maybe she did get bullied. If she went to an all-white neighborhood, they probably bullied her too. Because when you light-skinned, you don't fit, and she's mixed. You don't fit with white people. You don't fit with black people. Regular black, brown skinned people got a problem with you. White folks got a problem with you. White girls. And I'm talking about girls. Not talking about guys. Guys love her. All kinds of guys will love her. I'm talking about girls, because girls are mean. So Sonny done twisted her bad, traumatized life. She looked like she's about to cry. Not if you look like me. Twisted her bad, traumatized life and made it into there's racism everywhere, and it always happens to me. Matter of fact, she has the same skin tone as old girl Farrah. And what's the old girl name? She's half Republican sometimes and Democrat the other time. Anyway.
If you look like me. She's stupid. You look mixed anyway. People probably think you're Italian. And then the thing about it is, let me just say this real quick. To be honest, in America, if you are black or you're the victim of the racial tension, which means that if white people were predominantly racist against blacks, other white people will probably know before black people do. Let me tell you why. You can't openly be racist in America like that. You can't. You get fired on your job. You know, all kind of stuff. You lose it all. But if you were a white person with another white person that's racist, they'll be able to say the N-word and talk all kind of crazy about black people behind closed doors. So actually, white people would know if the majority of white racists in America. Black people wouldn't know.
He's absolutely right. You remember that lady who tried to take the bike. Actually, it was her bike. It was like those electric bikes. She was pregnant. They put it on TikTok. The lady ended up losing her job. The nurse, she was pregnant. They said, "Oh, you trying to take the bike from me?" The bunch of boys, and they docked the bike, and she undocked it. And then they tried to say that she was racism, and it was racism. And she was crying like, "Oh, I don't know." She probably was fake crying like, "Please help me, please help me." But they got her fired for a bike, an electric bike. Just imagine you coming out from work, you want to ride the electric bike to your parked car or whatever, or home, and somebody comes along of a different race, and they say, "Oh, you took that bike. I had that bike. I docked it first, or I undocked it first. I paid for it." And you stood your ground, and since you're of another color, they said you were being racist. So they put it on TikTok. They doxed her and found out that she worked at a certain hospital, and she got fired. So, Sonny, where was your phone at? Why didn't you take your phone down and say, "Hey, I'm Sonny Hostin. Look at me. I'm going live to my millions of followers. Look at that. Going live to my millions of followers so they could see this fool calling me the N-word, or my son the N-word." Come on, Sonny. You are on mainstream media. Millions of followers. Even on The View. Stream it live. Come on, Sonny. Let's keep it real.
Because they'll hide it. Roll the clip.
Listen, the woman. So, but just to understand, are we saying
she's stupid?
Do we think the vast majority of Americans are racist? That's what I'm trying to. I hope we understand.
I think that there is a significant portion that are racist, and you can't dismiss my lived experience.
I never would.
I can't take it. You can't dismiss my lived experience for a person that looks like her. Now Sonny, what? She's 50 something years old. Sonny. She's 55 years old. And she's gotten, some work done, it looks like. It looks like she got a nose job or whatever. But she still was a nice looking lady. And she looks mixed. Matter of fact, Officer Tatum was pretty right. She can pass for something other than black. You guys put it in chat. She could pass for something other than black. What lived experience? You was growing up and they was calling you niggas? What? You black? Come on now. Somebody that looked like her, she was, this is her. Now she don't got no color on this picture. No color. This must be the summertime. No color on this picture. Your lived experience. She was heavier on this one. I would say she looked kind of mixed there, but she could still pass for something other than black. I would say Latino or something like that. This really, she don't even look black in this picture. This is the picture that she looks less black in. Her son looks black, or mixed. She don't even look black right here. So what are we saying? She don't look black right there either. She looked more black or ethnic, you know, with the hair curly. I guess that's her young look. She got a nose job, it looks like. But very attractive. She's a very attractive lady. This one, she don't look black to me either. You know, she could be passed for mixed or whatever. But look at her face. Sonny, come on now. Stop it. Your lived experience, you know what? To me, like I said, that race baiting, woe is me, because you're doing it for the cameras. Somebody paid you to say this. This is not real life. You know how they were saying about Joe Biden? It's not in their reality. They're not living in reality in this dimension. This is Earth 12. What dimension are you in? Earth 21? Come on now. Like, are we in Marvel Comics or something? Come on now. Let's get back, hone it back in. Nobody believes the story or the lies that you're telling, Sonny. Nobody believes that.
I would never do.
Lived experience. That's what they like to say. They like to say my lived experience so they can lie to you and you can't verify it. Your lived experience. How are you going to give an anecdotal? This woman is giving an anecdotal experience, meaning my lived experience dictates the vast majority of what happens in America. That's completely stupid. You can't give an anecdotal experience and say that's the majority of how America operates. And you can't neglect my anecdotal experience. Therefore, I'm right about the vast majority of the people in America because my anecdotal experience. Nutty.
When I say that there are a lot of racists in this country, I just experienced my son walking down the beach being called the N-word several times in Florida.
She lying like a mother. Who called your son? Pull your phone out, B. Pull your phone out and record. I swear to God, if there was a lot of people just saying the N-word to your son, you telling me you wouldn't pull your phone out? That would be a historical phenomenon. That in 2024, you got people just saying.
Didn't I just say, I didn't even view this whole video. Didn't I say the same thing? You have the age of media. Hey, I'm going to stream everything and I'm going to record it and I'm going to get you fired. I'm going to put it on TikTok to all my millions of followers. TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And you're telling us this, that your son was called the N-word multiple times on the beach in Florida.
N. He's an N. Look at that N. Look, I know his mama from The View. Look at that N. And to be honest, if you walk down the beach, majority of them probably black. Are you saying it's coming from black or white? She just make up stuff. Where's the video evidence? Man, if I was walking somewhere and people were calling me the N-word, I'll pull my phone out. Oh, let me show the world what they doing. There's no video evidence. Your son didn't pull his phone out. There's nobody else pulled their phone out. Did you report this anywhere? Where did you say this anywhere except right now on The View? Because you're trying to make a point. Come on.
You can't say, I believe that the vast majority of people aren't racist.
But again,
we don't know that.
There are three.
The vast majority of the people are not racist besides you, Sonny. You're the racist one. You're trying to make everyone be like you because you're the racist one. Let's call a spade a spade. You're the racist. You hate white people for some odd reason. And you have awakening. Why did you think you was full? I think she said she thought she was Puerto Rican or something. No, you're white too.
100 million people in this country. I would never minimize your lived experience any more than I would mine as an Arab woman.
Oh, that's the Arab. These people are so stupid. It's crazy to me. Now, she been white this whole time, and now she's Arab. These people go in their 23andMe and they look back over the history of their life and they got an Arab person 1,400 generations ago. And now it's my lived experience as an Arab. Lady, you won't pass as Arab nowhere because, to be honest, your hands and your face are different colors. So you actually a lot more pale than you are with your makeup on. And this broad over here, and I call her broad, she don't deserve no respect. Look at her, she mixed race. And she just identifies black. People.
I didn't know Alyssa Farah was Arab. Anyway. This is Sonny.
I need that picture. Her son looks Mexican. Let me just say this. That was the end of that clip. It gets stupider if you watch.
He said it gets stupider. Her son does look, he looks black, or he could be Mexican or Latino. Anyway, so shocker, spoiler alert, Sonny, you owe reparations. Sonny owes reparations. Woo. I mean, if the irony of this, somebody says Sonny Smollett is in full damage control. Yes, it is. Sonny Smollett Hostin is in full damage control. I boycott the show to promote slave owners.
I thought of myself as support.
Hold on for a second. Let me see if I can find. Finding your roots. That's what it's called. Finding your roots. I probably can't find. Let me see if this is.
Introducing the ultimate plant-powered mascara called Cleantopia. 300% extreme lush volume. Now in dramatic ultramarine black. Cleantopia mascara, ultramarine black. From CoverGirl.
Records in San Juan show just how tough Virginia's childhood actually was, revealing that she lost 3 of her siblings before her 10th birthday, and then, in quick succession, saw both her mother and her father pass away.
It's horrible. It's just one thing after another for her. Just one thing after another.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense now that she refused to go back. I mean, I invited her several times. You know, Nanny, come. I used to call her Nanny. Nanny, come to Puerto Rico. You know, I'll put you up at the Ritz. It'll be great. No desire. I was.
So that was part of her heritage, I guess, Puerto Rican. And the other part, that's where she has a breakdown. This is it.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, you know, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
That's what you're gonna live with? You gonna say that at the end? But anyway, yeah, it was a part of life. So I mean, you're clinging on to this racism thing, and you were from, or you know, your grandfather or great great grandfather were actually slave owners. I mean, like you said, it's part of life. So when are you going to start paying reparations? That's what I want to know. When will Sonny start paying reparations? These comments are hilarious. So Sonny Hostin is a racist. Sonny Hostin found out she's a descendant from slave owners. Slave traders on Sonny Hostin's Puerto Rican lineage, not her Black American lineage. So actually, Sonny, you're Puerto Rican, Black, and Spanish. Of course, everybody's saying, what's with the negative comments? Hashtag Sonny Hostin. Thank you, Anna Navarro, for your stoic stance. What's so stoic to be about this? Somebody says she should pay reparations and hold an apology tour. Sonny should start apologizing to everybody. Sonny should start apologizing, going, like they said, go on an apology tour, because you're a racist. You are a racist. And you want to make everybody else out to be a racist. Somebody said Sonny Hostin is a racist family member of slave owners and should immediately step away in shame. Everybody's saying Sonny Hostin is a racist because she is. And she wants to try to spin or put the narrative out there that she's been traumatized or victimized because of racism. Her life was so hard because of the color of her skin and the way she looks. I call bullshit, Sonny. You probably was never victimized the way you look. She said she grew up in Atlanta, or not Atlanta, but Georgia, and it was racist there. And coming to find out, when you pulled it up, the town that she came from is predominantly Black. So what are you talking about? You got victimized by some black folks? And I will believe that, because back in the day, well, still probably today, kids are mean. You light skinned and you walking around like you got good hair and all that stuff. Kids don't like that shit. Girls are jealous of you. So yeah, I could see that happening. Anyway. Talking about that's disappointing. Oh, and is that her mom? Oh, that's Nancy Grace. Her mom is about her complexion. Like I said, now today, you're mixed with something. You can't just say, hey, I'm from a lineage of just straight African and just Puerto Rican, unless you're originally from that land. If you actually are here in America and you're first generation in America, that's the only way that will happen. And even if that's the case, so many other places were had slavery. So you can't truly say that you're straight one race, or I wouldn't even call it race. What is it called? Heritage. You can't say that. You can't make that claim. So Sonny, hopefully she has a wake up call and stop being so racist on air and stop trying to race bait every people. Maybe somebody should call her out. Like, hey, you're part of the problem. Somebody should do that. Anywho, you guys, it is 10 o'clock. We've been going pretty strong. I really appreciate you. Girl is confused. We got somebody on Twitch. They're saying all 5 of my affirmative action children want reparations from her. They have affirmed that the actions that her ancestors persecuted was disastrous. John Allen, well, you said earlier, good-looking people have an advantage in any skin tone. Yeah, they do. If you're nice-looking, you got an advantage. It don't matter what color you are. You could just walk around and be pretty. You a woman and you're pretty, you better use that to your advantage. And Sonny Hostin did. Look, she's getting paid millions of dollars to spread nonsense. She has nothing in between her ears. She's pretty, and she's getting paid millions of dollars. So you really don't have to be smart if you're pretty. Lamar Copeland says, tell them, Chawanne, I'm light-skinned black man that grew up in the hoodie. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they gave you a hard time for being light-skinned. Man, it's hard being light-skinned in the hood. You got to fight. All your life, you got to fight. So, I think Sonny is probably, if she grew up in a black neighborhood, she probably is trying to, displace her trauma from her own people. Black people probably treated her like shit. because she was a pretty light-skinned girl. I'm pretty sure that's what happened to her. Black girls treated her like shit because she's a pretty light-skinned girl. She probably had long hair. Maybe it was curly. You know, she didn't need weave or anything like that. So they probably gave her a hard time. All the boys probably was checking for her. They gave her a hard time. And so she's trying to displace that anger and said it was racism. Maybe so. It was racism with your own people. Anyway, you guys, I talked long enough. I'm going to head on out. You guys, I appreciate every single one of you. So we'll be online Monday starting back again Monday at 1:30. You guys have a great weekend. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.